That's okay too. All right, we recording?
We are.
Beautiful. So first off, thank you to everyone that is with us tonight. I'm excited to talk about this particular topic because as we have the holidays approaching, we got Thanksgiving around the corner, and then whatever, if it's Christmas or Hanukkah or any other of those December holidays that we're celebrating, as much as we say that it's the most wonderful time of the year, sometimes it's not. And as I am a big believer in choosing joy, let's talk about how do we deal with some of those holiday stressors so that this really can be the best holiday season ever. And I'm sure we will get into some lively discussion as we move through, because one of my favorite topics always is the family that we really don't want to see. And we think we all have some of those at some level. Maybe not. All right, so let's get started. And you guys, as you can see, can see each other. You can mute and unmute. We make you panelists so we can see you, which means you have complete control over everything on the screen as well. So just know that if you start to play with things and touch things, it may have a consequence, and that's okay. We'll handle it, but just know that that's the truth. And otherwise, I'm just asking you to participate tonight. It looks like it's going to be a fairly small group, and we can just have some fun and enjoy and get some good work done. So here we go. Let's go. Boom, there we go. So I always like to start with a couple of poll questions. So Chad's going to help me out tonight and pull up the first poll question. And, oh, actually, they're both coming up. Look at that. We'll do them both at the same time. I guess I should know how that works. So the first one is, are you typically the Grinch during the holidays, or are you a jolly elf? And I'm talking about the Grinch before the Grinch's heart got 3 sizes bigger or whatever, how many sizes it was. And then are you more traditional in your holiday celebrations or non-traditional or a little bit of both? So
I think I did that wrong, Barb. It looks like it only let it go for attendees.
Oh.
I wonder if I can relaunch that.
I think you can.
Allow panelists to vote.
There you go.
There we go.
That will make a difference. We also have the chat box. If anybody wants to chat anything, Chad and I will be checking that as well. All right.
All right, we're getting there. About half voted so far.
We've got some Grinches and we've got some jolly elves. I know we have at least one, I think, on the phone, which means they can't vote. So we're probably close. All right, you want to show them the results?
Absolutely.
All right. So as you guys can see, a third of the people on the call tonight are Grinches. And the other 2/3 are jolly elves. We'll see if that proves to be true. And 50% are purists in terms of holiday traditions, and some have created some new traditions as well. So that's some good information as we head into the evening. All right, cool. So we'll get rid of that. And so our official title for tonight is Reducing Holiday Stress and Upping the Fun Factor. And a little Snoopy graphic for you because I love Snoopy. All right, so here's our next poll question. And this is what's going to actually determine a lot of our conversation this evening. And so you can select all of them that apply. So what are your biggest holiday stressors? What are the things that stress you out this time of year? And if you have some that don't show up here, we certainly will talk about those as well. But I would love to know what you got. You can pick as many as you want.
Yeah, if you've got one that's not on the list, you can put it in the chat. We can see it there.
Oh, that's a great idea. That's why Chad gets paid the big bucks.
That's right.
All right. All right. So, well, the good news is everybody loves to attend holiday parties. Somebody picked that one. And so going into debt. Did you share?
I just did. Yep.
Thank you.
They're up.
Thank you. Going into debt, yes. We can sometimes get a little crazy in that moment. And then the whole quest to buy the perfect present for everybody, and the absolute pressure we put on ourselves to do that. Seeing certain relatives, we don't have a lot of those. Gaining weight. That's why I'm taking care of that now. Before the holidays. Crowds and long lines. That would be one of mine. I'm not a big crowd and long line person, but we'll talk about how do we deal with that. And then traveling out of town or across town. So those are our biggest stressors. Awesome. All right. So Chad, I'll let you, you should get rid of that. There we go. I got it. All right. So let's talk about some of those holiday stressors that you just identified. So tell me about what your biggest holiday stressor is, if you will share. What kind of just makes the holidays not as fun as you would like them to be, or as joyful as you would like them to be, and what that's about, and then we'll tackle those. So who wants to share first about the holidays?
I can, I guess.
Awesome. Thank you.
I suppose my biggest one is that it just seems like Christmas is so commercial. It is so I feel forced into this thing called Christmas. And the joy of that holiday over the years, for me anyways, has just gone down. It seems like I have to get a tree. I have to, and the fun of well, maybe I'm remembering when I was a little girl, that was fun. And maybe because my kids are grown up too,
Well, things absolutely change. So what would be fun for you now, Laura? What would that look like for you?
A fun Christmas.
Yeah.
I think I would like to focus it around possibly the grandkids' toys, and forget buying presents for any adults. Yes. And just make it about family that way, and forget about, I got to buy this person this and this, and forget the gifts, I guess. Dinners instead, and the kids opening the gifts to me.
Yeah, because and it's always fun, right, to experience that Christmas morning, watching the kids open their gifts. That's the most fun part of it, and that gets you back reliving, like you said, right, when you were a little girl. Yeah, I'm gonna open it up. I certainly have some ideas. Does anybody else have this particular desire to change up the holidays at all?
Which desire to change up what?
To not have to worry about buying everybody presents and all of the that goes with that.
When I answered the poll question, I answered a little bit of both. I mean, I do like that traditional part of it. What I don't like about the traditional part of it is the stressors. So not my stressors, but everybody else's stressors. So when everybody else, I guess it's the overall mood as far as, there's such long lines and I don't want to do this and I have to go to a different party. And that's the part that stretches me out, is everybody else stressing out. is the overall feeling of how bad it is. And I just don't remember Christmas being bad. I remember, loving Christmas. But a lot of recently, the attitude of, oh my God, the holidays are here. I was like, really? The holidays are here. That's a bad thing? It just, I guess what we're talking about, the expectation is frustrating.
Yeah. The stories. Got it. Thank
Yep.
you. Thanks, Dominic. Who else? What's your, and Laura, I promise you some answers, or at least some thoughts about what you got going on there too. And Dominic too. I've written notes down. Who else? What's your feeling about the holidays? What are your stressors?
We got a good one in the chat.
Okay.
I'd like to just not feel as though I have to make the cookies, the meals, the decorations, the perfect evenings. All those expectations.
Oh, I think I had one on there about it has to be magical.
Yeah.
Right? The pressure we put on ourselves. So feeling like we have to. Good one. Have to. All right. Who else?
I know for me, the traveling will get me. It's all this coordination, then planning, and all that. Sometimes very, very last minute, like, oh, we're doing this. Change all the plans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I avoid traveling as much as I possibly can. And I've got a story about it. My story is that people who don't travel very often are the ones that travel at Christmas, and they don't know how to be good travelers. So I got a very convincing story.
I may or may not buy into such a story, or may or may not have. I remember one Wednesday night before Thanksgiving that it took me 9 hours to get to LA. A 2-hour drive.
Oh, yeah. No, that's painful. It's painful. Anybody else? How do you feel? And I'm either way, good, bad, indifferent. Amber, you're on mute. Can we unmute you? Uh-oh, why can't we unmute you? There you are.
For us, we have a lot of multi-family traveling where we have to split between aunties and grandparents, and that makes for like 3 different celebrations, which adds a whole nother level for us.
Yeah, I do get that when you've got all the different families. And are they all in town, or do you have to go?
We travel usually to, yeah.
Wow. Awesome. Thank you. That's a good one. All right. Anybody else?
And it's a great one for new relationships. I was a friend was just sharing with me in a recent relationship, and it's like, well, whose family are we going to for this holiday, and whose family are we going to for this holiday, and we can't do everything all at the same time. Yeah,
that's a good one. Vicky Freese, a flash from the past. I'm so glad you're with us today. I won't put you on the spot, but I just wanted you to know. And Roz, welcome. We missed you, but I know we'll see you in a couple of months. So I'm glad you are taking care of yourself. So, yay. Thanks. And Oscar, it's always a pleasure to see you, my friend.
Yeah, I've seen you too.
Yeah, sorry, Barb, I was on mute. It is so good to see you.
It's awesome, Vicky. I love it when old friends show up. So.
Here's something great. Thanks, Laura, for sharing this. And I know I actually can absolutely relate to this. Christmas can be sad as both of her parents have passed away. And it's just not the same memories. And thank you for sharing that.
Yes, no problem. Yes, it does make it hard. I mean, I'm grateful that I have Michael's family and parents now to celebrate those, the Christmas, but my half, they're both gone now. So it's different for sure.
Well, and I think that's just something in general it's different, right? As we move, or as the kids move away, there's just so many different moving parts that impact the holidays. So thanks for that, Laura. All right, well, let's kind of dive into some of these. So some of these I'm going to hit with some slides, and some of them I'm just going to hit, and we'll talk about together about how do we address these things. So I loved this holiday to-do list, and I would absolutely recommend that we start to actually shift some of our holiday stuff in and find something that's I don't know if it's more meaningful. For me, it would be more meaningful, but something that really fits us and that makes us happy. And so I loved this list. So instead of buying presents, how about just being present in the moment and actually connecting with people. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Wrapping gifts, wrap someone in a hug. Boy, you know what? Just to be able to spend some time with somebody and get a hug from them could be the best present. I certainly don't need presents. Send peace, donate food, make love, there we go, and be the light. So we just get so busy during the holidays, and we just lose sight. You said it at the very beginning, Laura. I mean, we kind of just lose sight about what this is supposed to be, and it's supposed to be a time to connect. If you're religious, it can be certainly around that, the things that are important and meaningful. And we keep bringing more and more stuff into it that we've got to go do, and we keep putting all of this pressure on ourselves, and we don't have to. And we can make some different choices. And so the question is, how do we do that? So let's talk about one of my favorite movies, and it's not necessarily Jim Carrey. I like the good old-fashioned cartoon, is The Grinch. And I don't know about y'all, but I've had a few Grinch moments during some holidays over the years, not so many anymore. And then there's others clearly that have Grinch. Dominic was talking about that. What stresses him out is when others are stressed out and are having their own Grinch moments. So I'm going to put this out to you, the audience, about what do we do and what's the gift? Let me go there. What's the gift when you have Grinch moments? So in terms of what's the gift? When you realize you're in a Grinch moment, what's the gift to you? Or what can you do?
For me,
sorry, go ahead.
For me, Barb, the new gift is to know that that's present, is to know that what's available to me is to be able to switch gears, is to be thankful that my kids are healthy and they're happy, and that we're not in need of anything. We might be in want, but not in need. So the wants that we have, as far as, being happy and healthy and with the kids are there and enjoying that is okay. So the other things, all the other stressors are minor. And having that available, rather than bottling that up inside and choosing to be positive and choosing to be happy, that really is, it's a gift to have that awareness.
Yep. Thanks, Dominic. That emotion, that if we're having a Grinch moment and we're in an emotion that is at a lower vibration that we talk about, or just doesn't feel good, that emotion in itself is a gift, because it's saying something's not in alignment, which means I'm either forcing myself to do something I really don't want to do, right? And I don't need to do that. So how often, and Vicki, I'm going to come right back to you, how often do we do things because we feel like we have to, because we're worried about what somebody else will think about us, or all of that? And likely they're having some of the same conversations. So Vicki, what do you got?
Well, I mean, echoing what Dominic said, I mean, it's it's that ability to look at things and step back and appreciate what you have, but also to kind of remember that you can only manage your own expectations. And if you aren't meeting your expectations, you need to change your approach, or you need to share them with your loved ones, because if your expectations aren't being met, but they don't know what they are, they can't help you. So it really comes down to being open and sharing with those around you.
Oh my gosh, girl, you read my blog for next week that I just finished writing. It was like, whoa, it was almost word for word. So awesome. Absolutely. Yeah, so those Grinch moments can be awesome for us, but we have to have the awareness. So, right, and everybody on this call does, but the awareness that we're having a Grinch moment and that there is something else that's available to us. And if we need something, we gotta raise our hand and ask for what we need and let people know, because yeah, our expectations, if they're uncommunicated, as I talk about in my blog next week, if we don't communicate our expectations, we're just setting somebody up to fail, and that's all on us. So beautiful. So what about when others have Grinch moments? I'm sure this never happens in your world, but say me somebody at work, somebody at home, somebody on the freeway flipping you off, right? Whatever that is. So, and by the way, anytime anybody honks on the freeway, they're just saying Merry Christmas. So just know that. That's just reframes it. So what's the gift when others have Grinch moments for you? Anybody?
So for me, that's a great opportunity to practice keeping my vibration, keeping my vibe and my energy up, and not being drugged into an energy that is not where I want to go.
Totally. Amber.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same, just trying to keep my positive, energy with me, even though people around me might not be practicing.
Absolutely. You guys remember the attitude where we added it up, right? And we gave it a numeric value and it added up to 100. So, Roz, we just gave something away. That's okay. But what we have 100% control over is how we respond to whatever's going on in our situation. So if we let somebody else's negative attitude impact us, honestly, that's on us. It's not on them. We can't control how they're acting or how they're showing up. And so exactly what both Amber and Chad said, it's like we are 100% in control of how we respond to that. And sometimes it might be walking away and then coming back. We'll talk about some specific things that we can do with some of our family if that shows up for you. But staying positive, raising the vibe, and understanding, yeah, we can't control what they are. But what I love about this season, it gives me so many opportunities to practice picking positive, choosing the positive in that moment. And so I just get to sharpen all the tools in my tool belt and get to strengthen that positive. And the more that I realize that I'm in a negative vibe and in a low energy, I can choose in that moment to do something different. And the cool part is the more that I choose it, the quicker that happens for me. I don't have to let anybody else. I get to choose exactly how I experience, that's the word I was looking for, experience my holidays. Because if the story that I'm telling myself, so this is the key, if the story that I'm telling myself about whatever's going on as it relates to the holiday, if that story is not benefiting me, I just need to write a new story. And that story might include saying, no, I'm not available for that. Or no, I don't want to participate in the cookie exchange. And you know what? Somebody else is going to say no, and you know, it's okay. If it doesn't light you up, if it doesn't fill you up, and if it's a drain for you, say yes to yourself and say no to those things. And even if somebody else thinks you're the Grinch because you said no, that's on them. It's not on you. It's okay. So I will share with you that probably about 10 years ago, I stopped buying presents for anybody except my 93-year-old dad. And I'm not sure he's going to get anything this year, but it was easier than to explain to him why I wasn't going to buy him a present. And it's made life so easy. And I told people that I wasn't going to. My friends and family, I'm like, I'm not going to buy presents, so don't buy me anything. And you know what? People were happy about that. I mean, some of my friends were like, oh, that's great. You know, we can just get together and spend some time. And so what we were talking about earlier, Laura, with the adults, yeah, but call them up now and let everybody off the hook and know who you want to do that and who you don't. And so that when it's on Christmas morning, it can be about the kids. Doesn't have to. Right? So choose how you want to manage that. And to Vicky's point, it's about expectations. So, but you gotta be willing to communicate. It's like, and put it out there that let's not do gifts, or let's, you know, draw names so I only have to buy one gift, whatever that is. We can make this so much simpler, and then that certainly helps the whole budget thing too, so that we don't get stressed out about we don't have any money in the bank, and we can just enjoy what the holidays are about. It's worked awesome, by the way, and I love it. So, and this is another idea is, instead of buying presents, just be present. So during the holidays, when you feel yourself having that Grinch moment or starting to get stressed out, stop and breathe. Just be present and look at it from a different perspective, whatever that is. So let's just say you're in a long line, right? So you're at Costco or wherever, and you're in a long line, you're waiting. What could be a different perspective, or what could you do different other than getting stressed out? Let's hear some ideas.
There's a lot of time where I feel like I don't have time to do things. I don't have time to make a list. I don't have time to develop an idea or something else. That's time. So we can use that time to be frustrated and upset, which doesn't do anything, because you're going to be in that line for 45 minutes no matter what. Or you can choose to use that time productively. And oftentimes, I'm not great at it, but I'm getting better at it. Oftentimes you'll realize that when you get to the front of the line, you didn't have enough time to do what you thought you were going to do. It goes by quicker. Because you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make I wanted to make a list. I'm just going to make a list in my head right now, where I'll pull out my phone and start making a list and just use that time more productively. Because we always have time at the end of the day to say we didn't have enough time. But if you add up all those little moments when you were just in misery, or when I was at the doctor's office this morning waiting, I was creating lists. So it doesn't need to be reading a magazine or doing nothing. You could actually use it in somewhat productively. That helps me anyway.
I love that. Get something accomplished. Yeah.
Roz shared a great one in the chat. She likes to send messages to her kids to say she thinks they're cool. I love that.
Yes. That's, yeah. Get out your phone and communicate with somebody.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get out my phone and just look at cute pictures of puppies and kittens and just fill my.
Well, and I would probably do that, but then I would show the person next to me too. So one of my favorite things to do is raise the vibe of the people around me. And, you know, I loved it this morning. So I go work out at 5 o'clock in the morning, and that's not the most happiest group of people. And so the trainer was like, is everybody ready? I'm like, yeah. and somebody said, Barb's always ready. I'm like, yes. I'm like, you're way too happy. I'm like, no. But yeah, raise the vibe of the people around you. With
That brings up something else too, because a lot of times when I'll notice if people are a Grinch around you, it's a good time to pause and ask yourself why that is, and why do they believe that you're a decent candidate to commiserate?
No.
So whatever vibe you're giving them feels that it's comfortable for them to do that to you, because nobody wants to do that to a happy, cheery person. So if you're giving off a vibe of enthusiasm, of positivity, it's infectious. It always is. We've seen it over and over, where when you bring that vibe in, sometimes reluctantly, their vibe comes up. Even for that split second when you're around them, it might come down after you leave. I wouldn't know. But for that moment, if they're complaining to me, what vibe am I giving off saying that I would welcome that?
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. And the biggest energy always prevails, right? So, and this is a great opportunity to practice being that bigger energy, especially for somebody like me. And I don't know if y'all believe it or not, but my preference is good old introvert, keep to myself. And so this is a great place. That's where I practice being more social and getting out and just being that bigger energy as well. And I like to watch people's reactions and knowing that I've made a difference, especially like the people who are working at a store. You know that they aren't getting anything but complaints, right? And so think about the difference that you can make for them as it relates to that. So here's an idea for you. Rather than giving a gift card or a present, give somebody a gift certificate, and it can just be a piece of paper that says that you will be present with them. So literally instead of a present, being present, and I'm saying the same thing because I can't find my words, but it's about spending some time, right? Connecting with them. So I would much rather get something like that I'm going to have a date to have tea with a friend of mine and just connect, than any kind of little present that they can give me. I don't need any more tchotchkes, people. I don't. I got enough of them. And I'm stopped buying them for myself most of the time, but somehow I keep accumulating. Just be with me. That's what means something to me. The fact that you're here tonight, that means something to me. So there we go. So present or presence. Surefire way to feel joy is to help someone else. And I always love this idea, especially those of you with kids. Go find some people to help, or go buy presents for somebody who can't afford presents for themselves, and teach that good feeling, right? We talk about that will raise our vibration, and certainly will raise the vibration of the people that get helped as well. So that's just a beautiful win-win. And maybe it's donating one of our presents to somebody else, or the money that we're going to do. I know one year I gave everybody there's a charity called Kiva that donates money to people who are building businesses over in third world countries. And I gave everybody $25 to go donate to somebody else, which is just kind of a feel good thing. All right, let's tackle and I pick on in-laws. It's not necessarily in-laws, but dreaming of a peaceful holiday with all the different people in our lives. So think about one of the things that's so important as it relates to our relatives or the people, the family that maybe just annoy the crap out of us, is what are we focusing on? Are we focusing on what annoys the crap out of us? That's what's getting our attention. Or are we focused on what we actually love about that person? And that in itself can be the difference maker in the conversation. So, but let's just do a little tactic. So let's say that your father-in-law comes to you and starts a conversation about politics, and y'all don't have the same view about it. What do you do?
Have a coughing fit and walk away.
That would work. Yeah, that's a tactic. Any other ideas?
I'd just change the subject. Start talking about why you guys are together anyways, Christmas stuff or anything. Divert it.
Yeah. Just don't engage, right? I don't know that this is the best way. So I already talked about my 93-year-old dad. He loves to talk politics, and I don't. And what's so funny is I have him trained now that anytime that he talks about politics, I just don't respond at all. I'm just quiet. And we were on the phone the other day, and we got through almost the whole conversation. I think we said goodbye once, and then we started talking again, and he started bringing up something, and I just got quiet. And he's like, "And we won't talk about that." And we just move on. So we just get clear that that's not a topic. But yeah, just divert it and don't engage. So as soon as we start to engage, then our vibe goes down and we lose all of that. So finding things that add value. So one of the things that I would suggest is come up with some new things to talk about. So maybe at dinner, the first thing that you do, and you get to go first because that's what we do as leaders, is implement that everybody is going to go around the table and say something they're grateful for. You might already do that at Thanksgiving. That's fairly common. But if not, something like that, because you can't sit at a table where people are talking about things that they're grateful for and not raise the energy in the room, right? Versus some of the other conversations. And the first thing that I would do if we got on a conversation where people didn't agree or something like that, I would go back. You know what? Why don't we go around the table again and say what we're grateful for? And you can always set some ground rules too, but really spending some time focused on what we want, not what we don't want. Focus on what we like about the people, not what we don't like. So it goes back to how do we frame what's going on and create the outcome that we want. So being really positive about that. So any other thoughts about that? Didn't sound like this was a big problem for you guys, the awful family members. And choose you. So this goes back to some of the things that we talked about, especially all the stuff that we feel like we should do. We should bake the cookies. We have to have the perfect tree. You know what? Who says? Who says? So again, I haven't decorated in years. I haven't done any of that. And oh my gosh, my holidays are so absolutely incredible. Barb, my sister-in-law Barb, and Chad and I, we got together one year and we baked cookies. That was fun. But it was a social activity. It wasn't a have to. It was fun. And we enjoyed each other's company. We got to do it together. But there was no have to. I used to be one of those people that baked like 30 dozen cookies and shared it with everybody. And you know what? People still love me, even though I don't bake cookies anymore. Believe it or not. So until you take care of yourself, you don't have anything to give away to anybody else. So how can you just create something new for yourself and then share the best parts of you and the happy parts of you with others? Because if we get all stressed out about the holidays, we're not sharing the best parts of ourselves, with everybody else. So it's all about the stories that we're telling ourselves about what's going on. And if that story isn't benefiting us, we got to be willing to write a new story. And the holidays can be, I mean, they can be tough because some of the people that we're used to spending with, Laura said, I mean, if your parents are gone or your kids are out of town, and that can be hard. So Amber, I wanted to address, so what do you do when you have, right, multiple families to go hang out with and see? And that one's tough because everybody wants a piece of you. So does anybody have any suggestions or has been through that and has an idea of feeling the need to go spend time with both sets of parents or multiple sets of parents during the holiday? Anybody have a solution for that? Nope. All right.
Hey, Amber,
Yes.
how old are your kids?
7 and 10.
7 and 10. I don't know everybody's situation, so I don't know exactly how that would pan out. My only advice would be kids come first,
Yeah.
because this is the only Christmas they're going to have when they're 7 and 10. So there's going to have to be a priority list. I mean, you know that already. You know, this comes first, this comes second, this comes third. Now, how deep that priority list is, that's what becomes a stressor, right? Is I don't know if I'm going to get to number 4, 5, or 6. Especially with 3 different locations, 4 different locations, and the time constraint, and what day are you going to do what? That stuff's never easy. There's no quick fix for that. As long as the kids don't sacrifice. As long as, and yours. You know, we say that too, that you come first. So you and your enjoyment, your holidays with your kids comes first, and what comes after that, then you can set the priority as long as you don't lose track of that part. I don't think you can go wrong.
Yeah, it's a juggling act.
Mm-hmm.
Holidays.
Well, and I, again, you know, we don't know exactly what you've got going on there, Amber, but I do know some folks that they just said basically no to both sides for that day and stayed home and created their own tradition just for their own family. And then, you know, for New Year's, they went to see one, and, you know, whatever it is. I like what Dominic said is really, really decide what's the right answer for you and your family, and then work a solution with everybody else. So, you know, we don't always have to see everybody on the day or right around there, but if you're
That's pretty much what it's come down to is, you know, unfortunately, you know, one member gets the actual day, one gets the day before, one gets the week after. The tricky part is too, is now that we've merged, they've finally come to, I would say, an agreement to both be in the same space. Well, then you have to deal with that tension of the two, you know, having to go to separate rooms to socialize with the 2 different parents that don't want to spend the holiday together, but we've sacrificed now and we're all together, but then they don't want to actually hang out together.
well,
So,
and that may be, you know, and it has gotten complicated over the years. And maybe that's a conversation on the front end. So it sounds like you made progress there.
yeah.
But it's also a conversation on the front end to say, hey, you guys just need to let all that shit go and get along. And I would say the best thing for you, though, is just let them do whatever they do and don't even worry about it. So let don't take the tension on for yourself. And you don't have to, it's not your responsibility to make anybody happy other than you and your kids. That's it. And let them work it out.
Absolutely. And it's another great opportunity to practice being the biggest energy. So it's a great opportunity. So at this point, I would go I'd start creating like some new traditions. Like, so so kind of take a step back from anything that there might be historical feelings around and create, okay, so we're going to do this awesome new thing. We're going to play this fantastic game. We've never done it before. And we're just going to have this huge vibe around this. And everyone who wants to come in and be joyful, let's all have a blast and just be big energy around it. And then start to create new connections around this new experience. And I actually that was one of the things I was going to suggest is, I think my biggest thing around this is just to start having the conversations and changing it from a conversation around managing these expectations and then creating what the actual commitments are going to be. So, I mean, I want to spend time with you. Let's do it on this day. We're going to, or, hey, you know what? We're going to this place and everyone who wants to come be with us, come join us. We got tons of room. Everyone who wants to come spend time with us, come spend time with us. We're going here.
And when you're the fun people, they're going to want to come spend time with you.
Absolutely.
And that's a great idea. We've actually used that before. The best defense is a great offense. Is actually call everybody and say, everybody's welcome to our house. We're not leaving the house.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's the ball's in their court idea. We're not stressed out. We're going to be fine. We're going to have a great time. We'll be here all day and everybody's invited. Well, we're going over so-and-so's house. Okay, well, if you change your mind, happy holidays.
We will. The coffee and the cookies will be out later.
Yeah.
They might be from the store. It's okay. The store-bought Christmas cookies taste good too.
No, Roz already promised she was going to make them.
It's okay to make cookies in February too, Roz. If we're going there, I might as well ask. Just kidding. Awesome. Let's see. I think that might be my last slide. It is. So based on this conversation tonight, what will be different for you this holiday?
So Barb, the thing that I've been practicing over, more and more over the years is I'm going to do whatever brings me joy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there were years that I wouldn't decorate, that I didn't decorate at all. I didn't care. And then all of a sudden one year I was like, I want to decorate this year. And it brought me joy and I did it. And if I don't want to this year, then I'm not going to do it. Whatever is going to bring me joy in this moment, in this holiday, that's what I'm going to do.
Indeed. I love it. Who else? Anybody get any ideas tonight?
Hey, Barb, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so this is Evelyn and Keith, and we joined a little late, so I apologize. But I wanted to say that for years, there was a lot of stress on the holidays, like who's going to have it? What should we do? Right here, I just have my sister and then Keith's family, which is a small family, and then my family back in Chicago. And we decided that every other year we're doing something different. So I love having Thanksgiving. The next year, this coming Thanksgiving, we're going to Chicago. So it's just mixing it up, and it turns out to be really fun because you're putting yourself in a different situation. You're not stressed over cooking and making sure everything comes out at the same time, right? And I love hosting, and yet, it's a nice thing to do something different every other year. So think about it in terms of that. Yeah. Also, before I leave, I'll have a Thanksgiving meal with my sister if she's not going to Chicago, so that we have it. And it's not going to be on Thursday, but that's okay. Who cares? Yeah. It's Thanksgiving, right? We're giving thanks. We're having turkey and all the trimmings, and it's still a good win-win.
Thanks, Evelyn. One of my favorite things, I get together with a group of my girlfriends every couple of years, and we usually do it in the fall, but we always have Thanksgiving together. So awesome. Because they love to cook. Mm-hmm. I love to go buy something to add to them. That's my truth. So yeah, I mean, you can create whatever works for you. And some of my best Thanksgivings have been at a restaurant. We've actually gone out. There's some really awesome Thanksgiving meals out there. And then you don't have to eat all the leftovers, and you don't have to clean up. And So it can look like whatever you want it to look like. So thanks. How about anybody else? Anything else that will be different this year?
Well, for me, I have to travel a lot because I live in a different state than my husband. And so traveling home, and then we have to go and see family. And instead of like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired of all this travel, I'm going to kind of treat it like it's an adventure and find the joy in every moment, as I go on these different adventures. So I'm going to go into it with the right attitude and just find the joy in the moment.
Love that, Vicki. That's awesome. That's awesome. Cool. Who else?
Can you hear me?
We can, Roz.
One of the things we've been doing, because since I've had kids, I haven't usually lived by family. So, everybody gets together with their family over the holiday season. So I always felt like I had to do the cookies and I had to have the best Christmas lights and the tree had to be perfect. And it was going to be on us to make it absolutely perfect. And then as the kids got a little bit older, I started thinking there's got to be some keepers. And lo and behold, nobody gives a damn that I make a gingerbread house. And that thing takes me like 2 days to make. When you do it from scratch and you actually have to make your architectural plans. And it was cool and they ate it, but it wasn't a must have. And so throughout the years, about the last 2 or 3 years since they're high school age, we can start to ask them, okay, what's a must? What must we do? Apparently we must do a Christmas puzzle. That's something that we all do. So it's things like that they can kind of tell me what my priorities are, since I am the most happy when I'm doing for them. So that makes the circle complete. So it's nice to be able to ask them, like, what must we do to have a good Christmas?
What a great idea. Just ask them. Well, and I bet things like the Christmas puzzle, I love that idea because that means you're spending time together. You probably have some of the best conversations that you have all year around the Christmas puzzle.
And there's no competition.
Yeah.
It's not a game.
That's true. Well, we play a lot of games at our house, but
yeah, we get a little hyper competitive. So puzzles are nice.
Yeah, I love that. Awesome. Anybody else? It's all about attitude and exactly what you guys are saying. Just choose for you to be different. That's what's going to make the biggest difference this holiday, is for you to just choose to show up different than you may have before, and don't worry about everything. It's perfect. I'm telling you, I'm sure my mama stressed out about a lot of stuff that I could care less about. As long as we were together and we did our family thing, that's what really mattered. That's what people really want. That's what kids want. Is the safety and security of knowing that they're loved and spending time with each other. So that's what I got. Anybody have anything that else they want to talk about or add this evening?
I'm gonna share. I just wanted to share a quote. I went looking for it because it reminded me, and it's a Maya Angelou quote, and she's not necessarily talking about the holiday. It just seems perfect, though. At the end of the day, people won't remember what you said or did. They'll remember how you made them feel.
Yeah.
And that's what this is all. It's ultimately that's what we're talking about here, and that's what this is about.
And sometimes if it's about how they feel, it makes making the cookies more fun, right? If that is so, like in Roz's case, if that was a must that she's got to make cookies, when you're doing it knowing that people are really going to love it, it's not as much of a chore.
No.
But when it's for the cookie exchange, it might be.
Well, and that's often the stuff that it still brings you joy. It still brings me joy. So it's like the one year, it's like, I want to decorate this year and it's going to bring me joy. And it did. Or I know that this is important to people and this matters. So that makes me happy and I'm grateful for that. So that's joyful. It's just evaluating what is that feeling and doing that stuff, and everything that's not that, let it go.
Let it go. Let it go. It's not going to be important when you're when your days are over. So pick your battles, have some fun, and when people are honking on the freeway, just recognize all they're saying is Merry Christmas. So, and just say Merry Christmas back. Not necessarily with your horn, just your voice. So, all right. Anybody have any questions or anything else? All right. So this is my 2 minutes of what we got going on at High5. So we've got our High5 Leader Intensive class, our 3-day class in Roz. We will see you in February for that one. So we already got you. And then for the rest of our graduates, we've got our new Evolve class. This is a quote from one of our Evolve graduates from a couple of months ago. But there is definitely a next level as we go on. So we're just getting started, and the next Evolve class is in April. So that's available for everybody. And so our next public classes, we've got the High5 Leader Intensive in San Diego. We also have one in May in Chicago. This will be our first 3-day in Chicago. So moving it around a little bit. And then we've got the Evolve in San Diego in April. And our next High5 Live is going to be on the value of dreaming. So there was a great video that I saw the other day about most of us die by the time we're age 25. We don't actually leave the earth until we're about 75, but we give up on our dreams before we're 25, and then we just let life live us. So the value of dreaming, and we're going to actually have that presented by our Chief Dream Officer, Mr. Kevin Fink, is going to be doing that High5 Live, and the rest of the High5 team will be here to support him as well. And that's going to be December the 5th at 5:30 p.m. So we're going to move it by 30 minutes just to give some of the folks on the West Coast a little extra time to be able to get home for that. So we've got that. All right, so on a scale of 1 to 10, the question that we ask at the end of all of our webinars is, how valuable was this session, and what would make it, if it's not a 10, what would make it a 10? How can we get better? Because we love feedback here at High5. So you can chat us up verbally or in the chat what you liked or what you didn't like, and we can go from there. Oh, and it's time for me to get on another call. I see that too. Awesome. Anybody? Did we give you some value? Even a thumbs up or a thumbs down? We can go with that. All right. I'll take that tonight. All right, guys. Well, I need to run. We have a call with our team 1705 from last week. So we got their first of their weekly accountability calls. And so I'm looking forward to seeing them. And thank you all for being here tonight. Choose joy every second of this holiday season. And if you are not finding the joy and you need a little pep talk, give me a call. I'll be here for you. All right. Have a great night. Appreciate you all. Bye-bye.